When it comes to trying to do predictions, we like to take a more statistical and analytical approach, try to find patterns in a developer's history, or look at other factors that might make a difference, such as critical or commercial success. When it comes to MotorStorm, which was one of my first great memories of the PlayStation 3 as the visuals and the exciting gameplay, was one of the earlier titles that justified the PlayStation 3's big price tag, it becomes hard to take any kind of analytical approach. MotorStorm was mainly developed by Evolution Studios and was released just mere months after the self-processing PlayStation 3, which technically made it a launch window title. And since gamers were hungry for new and exciting titles, the game had strong commercial success as it managed to sell over 1 million copies in its first 6 months, which was a feat for 2006, especially considering that people were broke after purchasing the system. More than just commercial success, MotorStorm also fared well critically with an average review score of 82. Sony took notice and bundled in the title with hardware, which would technically make it a system seller, but Sony also went a step farther and acquired Evolution Studios in 2007. The company followed up with another great sequel, Pacific Rift, which was a lot more of the same with some new bells and whistles, but mainly new destinations. Once again, the game performed admirably well in both critical and commercial aspects, with over 1 million copies sold in the first few months and another solid review average of over 82, both great for an arcade racing title. Unfortunately, after that, the wheels came off with MotorStorm as they went back to the well too many times with more sequels and handheld spin-offs. Scores didn't drop too far, but slowly did decline into the 70s. By 2011, by the time the third game in the series, Apocalypse, was released, many had lost interest in the series, including myself who loved the series, but I never touched the third entry. The studio then shifted from MotorStorm to Drive Club, which was meant to be a launch title for PlayStation 4 as a live service racing game that leaned more into the simulation as opposed to MotorStorm's arcade roots. Drive Club looked and sounded promising, especially coming from the pedigree of the studio. However, expectations never materialized into reality, and long story short, in 2014, Drive Club was a massive failure. As a result, in 2015, about half of the studio was cut, and in 2016, after attempts to keep the game going, Sony closed the studio with the majority of the studio dispersed to third-party studios. The point is here that PlayStation likely owns the MotorStorm IP, meaning that if the series is going to come back, Sony is going to want it to, but not all hope is lost, as there appears to be reasons that Sony might want this series to come back. First, when looking at Sony's portfolio of first-party IPs, there is a lot of third-person, narrative-driven adventures, and with good reason. This is the bread and butter of Sony, and while they likely know that they are doing just fine, diversity is the key. At the current moment, there is nothing on Sony's book that resembles anything like what MotorStorm was offering. I'm of the mindset that if MotorStorm or Pacific Rift was released today, it would be a massive success. The main difference between 2006 and now is how many games have integrated live service into their offerings. The term Battle Pass is now a household phrase, and if done right, this is the key to taking MotorStorm to the next gear. During a recent investor call, Sony iterated that they plan to release 10 new live service games by 2026. Everything that's old is new again, and 2026 will be 20 years from the release of the first MotorStorm, which is not only creepy to say, but also enough time that people will warmly welcome it back. There is a strong chance that one of these 10 live service titles could actually be a MotorStorm reboot. The second reason is that it is very clear that both Nintendo and Microsoft have well-performing arcade racing titles, and Sony must want a piece of this pie. When looking at Nintendo, the record-breaking success of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is without question one of their most important series, with the most recent entry selling over 43 million copies as of their latest earnings report and selling at a rate of about 5 to 10 million per quarter reliably. A large part of the success of Mario Kart is because of how patient the company is with the series, which leads to high quality entries. In around 30 years, we've only seen a handful of entries. MotorStorm had almost the same in less than a decade, which led to a series burnout. Shifting lanes to Microsoft, in an earnings call in early 2022, just months after the release of Forza Horizon 5, it was said that the game had seen over 18 million players, which most are coming from Game Pass, but if even a portion of those players remain invested in the game or signed up for the service just for that title, then that's likely a big win for Microsoft. When looking at the big picture, it's not hard to see many reasons why Sony bringing back MotorStorm makes sense. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see MotorStorm make a return and what your favorite MotorStorm was.